Alright, when you first come into PhotoStory, you see this screen, and it asks you if you want to begin a new story or if you want to edit an existing story. So as you're first starting out, you'll just leave it on the first radio button. If you want to edit something you've already been working on, make sure you click on that second radio button down where it says Edit an Existing Movie. Okay? The next screen you come to is the one I already showed you. The only thing you can do on this screen is to import your images. So you click on the big button that says Import Pictures. You select the pictures that you want to use, and you can either do them one at a time, or you can use your Shift or Control keys as you click to select batches of pictures and bring them in. And as you can see down here at the bottom of my screen, they're arranged in a certain order. This is my timeline. And I can drag the pictures around on that timeline to get them in the order that Alright, so now you can see on my screen that I've got pictures imported up here in my little movie that I'm making. They're ranged along my timeline, and it's showing me one of them here. Okay. On the next screen, when we click Next, it takes us to a Titles screen. And this screen allows you to put words on the pictures. Okay? So if you want to type in a digital story by Susie Cox, then you can type that onto your screen. And we have all of the same editing tools, a limited number. Okay, I won't say all of the same, but similar editing tools as we would have in a word processing program. So you can put these words right onto your pictures. You can change the font color and size. You can change the placement of it, whether it's center, justified, left, right, top, middle, or bottom. So you can move those words around on your screen. Okay. When we click Next again, we get to the narration screen. And this is where we go in and you record your narration directly into PhotoStory. It has its pros and cons. Okay? The pro is that it records the narration directly to your picture and makes your picture the length of your narration. So you would not have to go back and adjust the length of each picture to match what you were saying. It does it for you. Okay? The con of using this program to do your narration is that, in case you haven't noticed, I pause before I switch to the next picture. This program won't record over transitions between pictures. So I talk and I talk and I talk and I talk, and then I pause and I click to the next picture, and then I begin talking again. Okay? If I talk over the transition, and what I mean by transition is, if you can look up here on the screen as I'm actually working, you see this little arrow button right here? That's what moves me to the next picture as I'm recording my narration. If I talk over this transition, it will cut me off. So it will not record what I say as it's moving from one to the next. So that is the one downfall of recording it here, is that it's not going to be this nice smooth narration with pictures moving underneath it. It gets a little choppier. But for the ease of use, for me, sometimes it's worth it if I can make a movie in 5 minutes. Okay? The other nice thing about recording your narration to the picture, as you do in this program, is that if I make a mistake on this picture, I delete the narration off of it, and I try it again. It won't delete the narration from the entire thing, just from that one picture. So it does give me a little bit more flexibility. That way I don't have to be so worried that I'm going to mess up. Okay? Alright, now below the picture screen, you see that there's a Customize Motion button. And on that screen, if you click on Customize Motion, that's where we can create those camera motions that we see in really good documentary films, where it pans across a picture or it zooms into a picture or something like that. One cool thing about PhotoStory is that it actually defaults to using those camera motions. So what I always do when I make a digital story using PhotoStory is I click the preview button over to the right before I make any changes to the camera motions. Okay? A lot of times I don't have to make any adjustments. That's why I was saying I could make a movie in 5 minutes. I hit that preview button, and if I like the motions that were defaults in the program, I leave it. I'm done. And it looks like I worked really hard. Yay! However, every once in a while, it will do something funky, and it will pan from a person's face to their knee. And it like ends on their knee. You're like, wow, that was profound. So what I usually do is I just keep a notepad next to me as I watch the preview, and I just make a note of the camera motions that didn't work. And then I just go back and change those individual ones, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute as I actually get into showing you the program. But this is the screen, the Customize Motion screen is the one you would come to make those changes. There's another tab at the top of that screen I'm going to talk about in a second. Okay, so that other tab houses a transitions area. So this is where you can go in and make those transitions in between your pictures. So Customize Motion allowed us to move the camera across the picture and stuff. Transitions lets us do those page curls and fade through blacks and those kinds of things in between the pictures. So you can come in and put those on in the transitions screen. When you're done making changes to the motions and to the transitions, don't forget to click Save and then move on. Alright, so we're done importing pictures, we're done putting any titles on that you want to add, we're done recording narration, we're done customizing the motion and putting on transitions. Next thing we're going to do is music. You have two options within PhotoStory. One is to select music. So there are two buttons that will appear on that page. Select music lets you go out and find music that you have downloaded. Okay, so it's just like insert music from file that we did on PowerPoint. Okay, super basic. The other one is actually create music is an option within PhotoStory. So you can say what kind of mood you would like for your piece, and it'll bring up a few. They're generally classical instrumental pieces. It'll bring those up, and you can kind of tweak them and play with them to put them on your presentation. And those are copyright free. We don't have to worry about it. So that's an option for you. That Create Music button will allow you to do that. This screen will also allow you to adjust the volume of your music. Remember that typically we're going to want our voice to play the largest role in a digital story, and the background is the music. Okay? So I generally have to adjust my volume down to about 25% on the music screen to make it be the background and my voice play the largest role. So just watch for that. A limitation of PhotoStory. Keep in mind, free program, meant for kids to make movies, okay? This will not allow us to have that swelling music, so we talk for a bit and then we stop talking and the music swells and gets louder. We got to keep a steady volume for the entire piece of music as we use it in this program. Okay, so that is one limitation. We can, however, add different pieces of music to different slides. So if you want one piece of music, a happy-go-lucky type of piece for the first 8 slides, and then you want it to get very serious for a few slides, then you can put a different piece of music on. You just select which picture you want to be on and add the music there. Okay? I'm gesticulating. Alright. Next screen is where we save our story. And this, I will tell you, my friends, is where I get the most errors in PhotoStory. Most people say, yay, this program's really easy to use, and then they save it wrong. Okay? So, this is why it's confusing. You can see on my screen here that at the bottom of the screen there's a Save Project button. That saves the PhotoStory project. It does not save it as a movie file. So that's what you want to do as you're working on it and editing it and making changes and you're not quite done. But when you're done and you want to submit it, it's kind of counterintuitive. You click Next. All right, so we get to the screen that's up in my box up here, and I'll show it to you again later. But it says save your story. It asks you where you want to save it, so I'm saying I want to save it on my computer. Down here, I say which folder I want it in, what I want it to be called. And then I've got to come over here to the next button in order to save it correctly. Okay, so really watch out for that one. That's one of the reasons I'm making this movie right now, is everybody forgets it. Okay? Click next. When in doubt, in PhotoStory, click next. Okay? When you click next, it will go through a processing moment. So you will see little processing dialog boxes come up saying, we're saving this as a movie, and it takes a few minutes and stuff. That's how you know you did the right thing. If that doesn't come up, then you didn't do it correctly. Okay? And in the end, you will get this screen right here that's showing up in my box that asks if you would like to view your story. If you get this box, you saved it correctly. Okay? And it will save it as a WMV format, the Windows Media Video, for you to be able to upload to your class website or to YouTube. All right? So that's it. That's how you use PhotoStory. I'll now take it off and break it down for you.